Role-playing toys like swords and masks are super popular, and it's easy to see why. Sure, it's fun to use your imagination and wield a cool stick. I will never deny the power of a cool stick, but there's nothing quite like equipping a helmet and weapon and becoming a character. Whether it's Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe, Captain America, or even new properties like Fortnite, there's a role-playing toy for every franchise, and Transformers is no exception. What's good, internet? Jake here, dumb as ever, and in today's video we're going to be discussing several Transformers role-playing toys. The concept of Transformers role-playing stuff has always been funny to me, because unless you have one of those cool homemade transforming Halloween costumes I would see on Facebook 10 years ago, there isn't any real way to roleplay the concept of transforming. Regardless, toy designers are very clever, and there's a lot of toys that can bring you into the world of Transformers. Me and my pals Fanpage 101 and Perspective End actually ranked a lot of the toys I'm going to be talking about today on our podcast, Back Kibble. So if you like this video, consider checking that out. Also, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I have a lot more content coming in the next few weeks and you're not going to want to miss it. Before we get into the roleplay only toys, I of course have to shout out the G1 toys for having so many characters that turned into roleplay toys in their own right. Soundwave, Shockwave, Reflector, Blaster, Perceptor, and of course Megatron are all awesome examples of early roleplay toys as well as being awesome Transformers. We don't really see alt modes like cassette players and cameras these days outside of G1 remakes, mostly because mass shifting as a concept has been phased out of the canon, but they're truly fun and I wouldn't be mad if new mass shifting characters were created in the future. One of the best toys to get you into the role-playing mindset are masks and helmets. The classic Transformers helmet, in my opinion, is the Optimus Prime voice changer from the 2007 movie. The design is so slick, and there are actually lenses that hide your eyes and give it that extra cool factor. I remember so many of my friends had this mask, even if they weren't into Transformers as much as I was. It was kind of like the normie toy for kids that didn't play with the real Transformers. The voice changing aspect of it was pretty bad, just adding a tinny effect to your own child voice, meaning you really didn't sound like the big man. The Bumblebee version of this helmet was slightly different because Bumblebee usually can't speak in the Bayverse, so instead of changing your voice, the mask would play generic rock and pop music while you talked through the mask. I kinda see where they were going with this, trying to simulate how Bumblebee communicates via radio, but usually the stuff he plays is not random unrelated music. In recent years, we got a Studio Series helmet from the Bumblebee movie, which is a much better version of this idea. You can actually connect to the helmet with Bluetooth and play your own music. There are buttons that let you vaguely remix the music with record scratches, but really it's just a Bumblebee-shaped speaker, though the sculpting is really cool. There are actually some really high-end Transformers roleplay helmets from the Modern Icon series. There's helmets of G1 Optimus Prime, Megatron, and Soundwave, and they all look really good. The sculpting on the Megatron mask is really cool, but I also have to say it's equally creepy, just that smile. The best part of these helmets is that the eyes glow, which really makes them pop and feel alive. These products seem to be aimed more at adult collectors than kids, probably to make cosplays easier. Now we have to talk about the less cool younger cousins to helmets. Masks. No, not that mask. That's for another video. In my eyes, masks are way worse than helmets, since a lot of the immersion is lost by just strapping a piece of plastic to your face. But masks are usually way more affordable than helmets, and honestly, kids probably don't care too much either way. Some of the most cheapo Transformers masks are the RID 2015 Happy Meal masks from McDonald's. The masks function more like sunglasses and only have the top part of each character's head. They're so lame I didn't even bother to talk about them in the McDonald's toy video. And just like the show, the only good part of this line is the strongarm mask, because it has a cool red visor. Speaking of bad Transformers media, The Last Night actually has this admittedly cool mask of Megatron that features an opening battle mask, really showing off those pearly whites, dude. To be fair, I think the TLK Megatron design is the best design from that movie, and they pretty much just gave his 2000 2007 design as Samurai Glow Up. In recent years, they've gotten super creative and made masks that transform, starting with Rise of the Beasts, Bumblebee, and Optimus Primal. Finally, I can become monkey. These toys make for uncomfortable masks and somewhat accurate robots, but they make up for those faults in creativity. I honestly thought after Rise of the Beasts, these masks wouldn't come back, but for Transformers 1, they actually released an Optimus Prime mask. His robot mode is really rough and not giving Optimus at all, but again, I appreciate the idea enough to give them a pass. When I was a kid, the only role-playing toy from Transformers that I owned was the Armada Starsaber, the iconic weapon that the Autobots and Decepticons fight over early in the show. This thing was an actual weapon, being made completely out of plastic. No NERF foam here, children of 2003. The sword had cool flip-out blades, and I must admit I had a good time swinging it around, although not for long thanks to the handle being literally square-shaped. They knew actual Transformers wouldn't be playing with this, right? The movies had a variety of blasters and melee weapons, from Bumblebee's plasma cannon to Optimus's sword and shield from God's favorite mistake, Age of Extinction. But forget all that crap. I want to talk about a real blaster, the Big Rig Blaster. This ingenious toy could transform from a stubby movie truck mode into Optimus Prime's own dang hand, holding his iconic blaster. The transformation is so slick, it almost feels like magic the way the truck morphs into the blaster. This is that good 2007 automorph magic, baby. Imagine pulling up to your op's house and busting out the auto toaster. You would probably lose because it only fires one dart at a time, but you would look really cool. There was also a Starscream version, which is less cool but still satisfying to watch. Though, in my opinion, the best version of this concept is the animated Battle Blaster. This is the only toy to my knowledge that actually gave us a full version of Optimus Prime's fire truck mode, and is just as slick as the Big Rig Blaster. We were also supposed to get an animated Megatron Blaster in the same style, but sadly it was cancelled along with the rest of animated. They've done a couple of transforming blasters since, like this Rise of the Beasts NERF blaster that transforms into Optimus, but none have come close to having the swag of the Auto Blicky. So, full disclosure, I'm planning to make a video on the 2007 movie Transformers toy line, so we won't be discussing real gear robots today, but we will discuss these weirdo toys called T.E.C.H. Transforming Electronic Combat Hardware, or T.E.C.H, was a subline of the 2007 movie which featured everyday normal electronics that would transform into weapons. They're kind of the Transformers version of the popular Spy Gear toys of the time, but unlike Real Gear robots and Spy Gear, these things kinda sucked. Most of them turned into blasters like Tight Shot, a digital camera that transformed into a minigun, or Auto Fire, which transformed from a really ugly Game Boy type thing to a really ugly blaster type thing. Auto Fire is really bad. I hate all me and my homies hate Auto Fire. My favorite was Quick Bow, which transformed from a PDA, which for all my fellow Zillennials is kinda like the caveman version of a smartphone, into a little crossbow weapon, which I think is cute. There's a couple real deal Transformers that turn into household items as well, like Laserbeak from Transformers Armada, who could transform into a digital camera. The camera mode is awesome and even comes with a little strap for that extra bit of realism. And when transformed, he ends up being fairly size accurate to the show, which is awesome, and adds even more role-playing options. The final toy I want to talk about is Transformers Classics Megatron, who actually got to turn into a gun. Kinda. This version of Megatron turned into a Nerf gun called the Maverick, which is a blaster I remember from my childhood. The Maverick and the Vulcan were classic Nerf blasters for kids back in the day, and I remember seeing a ton of commercials for them. Turning Megatron into a Nerf blaster is, in my opinion, a brilliant compromise to the issue of Megatron becoming a real-life gun in G1. I mean, come on, it's Megatron. There's no way he would choose inferior human technology over Cybertronian technology. Unfortunately, Megatron had to be given orange caps to signify he is not an actual fusion blaster due to those pesky toy laws that keep children safe. But honestly, his color scheme is so bright, the orange kind of works on the toy. He's a Megatron with a Nickelodeon vibe. Unfortunately, the blaster can't shoot, but it does have a nice clicking noise and isn't too small. It's pretty accurate to the real Maverick size. The Japanese version of this toy is honestly the best version because he looks a lot more like G1 Megatron, and he doesn't have to have orange caps because Japan's laws are different. I have to hand it to Classics and some other early generations lines. They had some great redesigns, and I kinda miss that creativity. I'm sure that's the most annoying thing a Hasbro designer could hear, because people have been begging for remakes from so many different universes, but I really do miss the days when they could go a bit wild and turn Onslaught into this awesome SWAT vehicle, or make Astrotrain a bullet train. Anyway, thanks for watching my video on Transformers role-playing toys. It was super fun to look back at this weird part of the franchise. Please consider liking and subscribing, and check out the Back Kibble podcast where we yell at each other about children's toys. I'm gonna go get a Little Caesars pizza and relax. Peace.